All right, welcome to the last week of the semester. I'm going to do a really quick overview of your final assignment in this course and some things you can do to start thinking about it during this last week. So your final in this course is a completely take-home, I guess obviously we're still remote learning, assignment and that you have to upload. The deadline is the time at which our final is scheduled. You do not need to show up to the final, but you can make appointments for office hours during the last week of class if you want to talk through this assignment. So the assignment here is to analyze and critique the philosophy of learning that you wrote at the beginning of the semester in week 1 before you learned anything in this course. So I'm going to give you a few examples, and note that I have changed this assignment from previous semesters as well as some of the content. So you may notice a few examples here from of students talking about content or topics or readings that you are like, I don't think we did this, I don't remember this, and you'd be correct, we didn't do all these same things. I've been changing things up a little bit every semester. So the assignment I used to give was that students had to write an essay. Now, as their philosophy of learning at the beginning of the semester, many of you did write an essay. And so in which case, maybe your final assignment is going to look really similar. But others of you did things like creating PowerPoints or other sorts of ways of transmitting, conveying information about your learning philosophy at the beginning. And so take these just as kind of jumping off points, examples, ideas, however you want to present your analysis or critique is fine. And in the assignment, I've provided some additional information. For instance, if you made a PowerPoint, maybe you just want to talk, like go into Zoom and record yourself talking over. You don't even have to have a video camera on. You can just do audio. Maybe you want to put your comments, your critique, your analysis at the bottom in the comments of your PowerPoint. Maybe you put your PowerPoint on either a Word doc or other doc, and you either print it out and handwrite stuff, or you like add in little comments, arrows, however you want to show your analysis and critique is fine. Whatever is up to you, whatever you're going to find sort of motivating as a way to complete this assignment. All right, so here's a few examples. But I guess before we get to the examples, just a quick mention. We had 10 weeks of content during this class. So these are those topics. You can either take a pause now and think about those in relation to your philosophy, or you could go back to any of the modules. All of these 10 topics have individual concepts that you could think about relating to the philosophy you wrote at the beginning of the semester. You don't need to include all of these 10, but remember, this is a final assignment, so kind of thinking what all you can pull from is a good idea. So this kind of gives you a menu of possible options of which you can choose to go maybe really in depth with one of these, or you want to kind of surface level, like kind of touch on, let's say 7 or 8. And you don't have to include all concepts. So for instance, if you say, oh, I was talking about memory in my initial philosophy, maybe you really want to focus on working memory, or you want to really focus on long-term memory. There's a lot of different concepts within that topic, within all of these topics. Okay, some examples. Okay, so here's a student who, her initial philosophy, let's see here. So this in black was her initial part of her statement, and she had written maybe a page or two at the beginning, so it was in black. And then as her final assignment part, her analysis included this overview here, kind of summarizing in general in her original statement. And then this is specifically connected to analyzing this particular part of the statement. I will note, and maybe I shouldn't have started with this was a student who was extremely verbose in her writing, and so you may not have quite the same level of analysis or same length of analysis. I'll show you a few other examples. So, but if you do find yourself as someone who's very verbose in your writing, or you have a lot to say, don't feel like you need to keep it constrained. Okay, some other other examples here. So that was just one student. Okay, I guess I have animated this slide and didn't realize it. All right, so here's another student who, instead of sort of adding new text, decided to use comments. And so you'll notice that the student didn't have something to say about every single sentence, but randomly said like, oh, this sentence here, I have some thoughts about that. Whoops. And so she wrote a comment about that. If you choose to add comments, I definitely recommend that you use like either don't upload it as a PDF, I guess is what I want to say, because sometimes there's these little, like if your comments are too long, then they'll be kind of smushed up and I can't read the whole thing. So I would like to read what you have to say. So if you do choose to use comments, upload as a Word doc or something like that. You can also do comments in a PowerPoint, and those get embedded on the slides and show up as like a little picture of a sort of speech bubble. And I can click on those and you can kind of position them close to the part you're talking about. And here is another option. So this student chose, and this probably is animated. There we go. So the black text is their original statement, and then the green is their response. So they kind of let me know at the beginning, hey, whatever's in black text is what I wrote at the beginning, and then the green is my analysis. And so they just kind of like went through sentence, like analyzed whenever they had some thoughts about what they had written originally. They just kind of incorporated that in a different color. This student also had a page at the beginning kind of just overviewing what she felt like she learned since and how her thinking has changed since the beginning of the semester. So these are a couple of different examples. I could also, imagine even if you want to do text, maybe you just want to have like an audio diary that kind of describes and it kind of goes through and analyzes. Maybe I know some of you have used different sorts of like digital writing and digital note-taking devices. And so maybe there's other ways that you want to kind of mark up your original paper. You could also take the approach of thinking about like you as the teacher, having learned all of this material from EdPsych, kind of giving feedback to yourself at the beginning of the semester based on what you've learned this semester. And so however you would imagine giving feedback to a student, you almost giving feedback to yourself as the student is fine to do. And so I've given feedback this semester over, I did audio. I've mostly done kind of written comments. In the past, sometimes when I'm doing more writing intensive versions of assignments, I will give feedback sort of similar to this or similar to how the student who had the comments have. So totally up to you. If you're thinking you want to talk through some ideas, feel free to reach out to me or TA, and we'll be happy to talk with you about your philosophies of learning. So I'm looking forward to these final assignments. Congrats on reaching the end of the semester.